Yeah. hmm I sent an email today, Thursday, March 7th at 12:42. Yes. hmm And I thought for sure I would have gotten a response by now, but I haven't. See, I documented that my sons are in the wrong grades. And I usually use a 24 font. It makes it easy for me to read on my smartphone. Yes. They're in the custody of my wife, and I did not have any protections of law when the dissolution of marriage and the protections orders were issued. Yes, I want them. So read the screen prints and watch the videos, then have my sons call me today. Now that was at 12:42, and it's approximately 2:30 this afternoon. Yeah, about an hour and a half ago. And then I was mentioning these individuals known as mandatory reporters. They are required by law. You can see from the newspaper article that they're in the wrong grades. Yes. See, Zach is a sophomore. That would be a 10th grader. Yes. Bishop is a freshman. That would be in the ninth grade, and Deacon's in the eighth grade. Yeah. That's what it says there. Yeah. And then they are going to graduate far behind those of their like age group. Yeah. So I provided their social security numbers and their birth dates so that law enforcement and those that are mandatory reporters could see that my son Zachary was born on January 16th of 2002. Yeah. And he's in the 10th grade. He's going to graduate at 19 and a half years old because of the neglect of having them in the wrong grades. Yeah. For 7 years and 8 months. Did somebody not understand what I was communicating in that email? I graduated 17 and a half years old. Well, let me see. I was 17. I turned 18 that summer because I was living in Sweden at the time. Yes. Now, I wanted that fraud removed and I want custody of them right now. Now, this is a forgery. Okay. Remove the forgery known as the ex officio Superior Court clerk signature. Yeah. And the fraud of issuing court orders where you didn't protect my rights, you didn't protect their rights. Yes. It's obvious that you can see the difference in the signatures and the handwriting. Yes. hmm hmm Now, this woman that is holding the little girl, yeah, it's not her mother. Poop. It's my sister, Susan Bowers. Legina is the adopted daughter from Haiti, and she's being abused and neglected. And I wanted her real mother, yes, to call me at 509-599-1988. Did you get my phone number? Now, Mike receives moral support from his wife, Marilyn, but that's not Marilyn Van Proyen. And their adopted daughter from Haiti, that is not her mother. Poop! That's not her mother. Now, is there somebody in law enforcement right now that doesn't understand about abuse and neglect of children and why the employees of Legina School were required to have Mike removed from her life? Here are the links to drive folders, jail, that have additional evidence of fraud, retaliation, and the refusal to exonerate me of any crimes. Yes. Now, there's a screen print of the obligations of law enforcement to admit exculpatory evidence, and why it is a crime to retaliate against citizens when they inform law enforcement about the fraud of judges. Yeah. Now, I was not given any due process when you issued the protection order. Yes. And it could be that the Superior Court Judge, Brent Basden, yes, doesn't want to go to prison. Poop. And his thought was, well, we're going to continue to torment and torture Paul and his family because we cannot admit any wrongdoing. Yes. Now, this thought, right, that my record's expunged. Yes. You've arrested me multiple times with the refusal to admit exculpatory evidence. Yes. And then there's a good probability that one of these signatures of the actual court commissioner is a forgery. Yes. These signatures are forgeries, And the protected person didn't sign this, didn't appear in court, right? The petitioner didn't appear in court, yes. And you decided that you just were going to continue to obstruct my rights to have you sued as judges. Pooch! Now, there was this guy named Stitch. Is there any graduates of any law school of the United States of America? Stitch. I included the literature about malicious harassment, Seattle Police Department. And I have documented 2,400,000 emails. Yes. The crime of using fraud and forgery. Yes. The crime of having these 5 minors named in the custody of my wife while knowing they're in the wrong grades. Yeah. And then the fraud of issuing court orders where you don't have jurisdiction. You didn't have jurisdiction over myself or my wife because she didn't appear in court. No. You didn't have any jurisdiction over the minors named, and you did not have jurisdiction over the subject matter. Because I didn't get notice and opportunity to be heard. Is there a judge someplace in the United States of America that thinks I won't have him imprisoned? Pooch! Are there any judges in any county of this nation that do not understand the ramifications of not protecting the due process rights of the respondent? Yes, the equal protection rights of the minors named. Now, retaliation is when you arrest me, yes, and you refuse to admit the exculpatory evidence that I wasn't in Sequim, Washington. And then you file a 2-count criminal complaint in Jefferson County. Yes. You arrest me for a failure to appear and you require me to go to court for 16 months. Yes. And then you say I'm incompetent. Poop. And then there's this whole problem of arresting me on the 23rd. Yeah. Now, in Title 18 U.S. Code 1505, whoever, that means any person, corruptly, yes, influences, obstructs, or impedes, or endeavors to influence, obstruct, or impede the proper, or impede the proper administration of the law under which may pending proceeding is being had before any department or agency of the United States shall be fined not more than $5,000 or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. Now, this corruption of sending court notices to the sanctuary, yes. I think you did influence, obstruct, and impede, and you have endeavored to influence, obstruct, and impede, yes, the due that I was owed, known as the proper administration of the law, under any proceeding. And well, Mike Van Proyen can go to prison for 5 years. Mike can go to prison for another 5 years. Now, I made mention, yes, that I did not reside at 1023 Kitchen Dick Road, and it was not my responsibility because of the fiduciary obligation of a pastor ordained in the Foursquare denomination. Now, this criminal act occurred several times as federal, yes, state, yes, county judges retaliated against Paul Budnick for making reports right now. Judge Porter, some reason you want to remove your fraud? You said I was incompetent for knowing I wasn't in Sequim, Washington on December 31st of 2015. Seems that some corrupt judges think that they cannot be arrested. Yes. They can't be prosecuted. Yes. And that these United States codes are not applicable.